Hey, what is going on, collective? Welcome into the channel. I am so happy to be here with you as always. My name is Deborah, owner of Purusha Holistic Wellness, and this is another episode of Purusha Intuitive, where we are going to look at the energy of the full moon. Full moon, well, it's a blood moon. It's a lunar eclipse in Pisces, and it's happening now. So actually, we've passed the peak by a few hours. I apologize. But we are going to just look at the energy. Usually when we have astrological events, I guess depending on, but specifically in the moon cycles, we can definitely feel the reverberation of the energy for a few days leading up to, a few days after, sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on what you have going on during that time. So, yeah, let's get into it. It's an interesting time of year. We are in Virgo season. This is a full moon in Pisces. Like I said, we have the 4 outer planets in retrograde right now. And this is also a lunar eclipse. So basically all that is talking about how it's really highlighting, putting a central focus on deeper lessons, more spiritual or evolutionary lessons for ourselves. And that's not really fun. Like, we really don't want to have to do that stuff in life, right? Like, we kind of just want things to come to us because, you know, we're hoping, wishing, believing it will happen. But this kind of is the path right now. It's always good to take a second to self-reflect, right? Take a step back and look at areas where we can make adjustments so we're not winding up in the same dynamics, same situations, same toxicity and drama, etc., which is often what full moons kind of heighten and enliven. This is actually not that bad of a full moon, I personally think. I mean, when I'm looking at the astrology, we have a lot of support. But like I was saying before, most of the support is coming from the outer planets, like that. If it's that message, like if you do the work, then you'll get rewarded, where we can't just like sit on it, think about it, idealize it, and not do anything. Or we can't like force our agenda. There is, right now, Mars is square to Jupiter. So the way we want things to work out is not happening, especially as it relates to our quote unquote abundance, the things that, you know, we're trying to manifest or level up or make our lives a little bit better, etc. So a little bit want, you know, there is some tension around relationships, but a lot of the stuff that's happening, we're already aware of. We already have a heads up around. It's just so much is hanging in the balance right now. We're not really sure which way it's going to go. And that's why lunar eclipse energy really gives us an opportunity to get ourselves right with ourselves, you know, set that strong foundation so that you're prepared for whatever is coming up next. And we'll look into that. I'm going to start off with an energy cleansing just to set the tone, set the vibe for the reading, cleanse out any blocks, obstacles, limitations we might be coming into right now. It's also a great time to set your own intention for the reading as well, especially if you've come in with something on your heart, on your mind, something you would like Spirit to deliver messages to you around. Definitely give that over. Be open to receive. Spirit is always looking for ways to speak to us, and it's a great way to personalize these collective readings. I also do personal readings. I offer a variety of healing and wellness services. Readings are one of them. If you want me to look at your specific situation, how it's faring, where it's headed, or if you are looking for more of that realignment of self, your mind, body, soul, I do energy healing as well as Ayurvedic or holistic wellness consultations. When we are aligned, when we know who we are, what we want, when we're connected to those principles, that's really where we are having that strong foundation to manifest our happiness, our fulfillment, our abundance. We all deserve it. I would love to help support in whatever way possible. definitely hit me up. All the info to get into contact with me is in the description box below. All right, let's get into it. I bless you with pure love and light, pure source energy, pure loving grace. I release anything that is not for your highest and best. Any fears, doubts, insecurities, lack of worth, lack of value, pain, anger, frustration, impatience, overwhelm. Cleanse it and release it from our being so that we may see and understand the messages clearly and help to make me a clear and open channel for the collective. Thank you, Father God, Spirit guides, guardian angels, Mama Love. Amen. All right, so your energy feels like you're not getting a lot of heads up around what is next, what the next steps are. This ship indicates travel. It indicates exploration. It doesn't mean that you have to necessarily be taking a trip, but I'm hearing this as like, okay, like the path isn't really clearly laid out in front of you. And so it's assessing your options. It's not only just about assessing what's there, but it's also about inviting new or different options in as well. Maybe even revamping some options. We've been seeing that pop up a lot in the collective, especially over these past couple days, as we're in this time of the full moon. Full moons often bring people out of the woodwork. We've been seeing a lot of emphasis on relationships, especially karmic dynamics, where there's like a lot of learning lessons embedded. And I like this energy because it's forcing us to get really clear on what is truly meaningful and authentic in our life. Unfortunately, the full moon is tensely aspected by Venus, and it is highlighting where there is disconnects in relationship that can make us feel like like not even unworthy, but like just that people don't really care, that they're not really valuing us and what we bring to the table. The moon is the first card in your overarching energy, so it is kind of talking about the heightened emotion that you might be feeling around a decision that needs to be made. I'm hearing a lot of back and forth. It's been a lot of back and forth. It's been a lot of like weighing the pros and the cons, and nothing quite fits, right? It goes back to that original channeled message where it's like, you can see that, yes, I mean, eventually a decision is going to have to be made in order to get to the next step, but you're not really quite sure what that is. And I feel like it looks like whatever is going on for you right now is feeling more burdensome, is feeling more overwhelming. And I almost feel like in some ways, no choice feels right. And that's maybe where you're getting stuck. That's maybe where you're feeling like it's hard to connect with your heart. It's hard to find a clear-cut answer or decision on how to move forward. Both or all choices, everything involved is bittersweet, good and bad. There's no happy ending, so to speak. And I feel like in a lot of ways, we are being forced to acknowledge this right now, unfortunately. This definitely came through in some of the zodiac readings this past week. Definitely check yours out if you're interested. I'm also starting new ones coming tomorrow, so definitely check back if you're interested as well. But there is kind of this highlighting of like, sometimes we just have to make peace with the fact that something is not going to be what we want it to be, or there's no good way about it. It all comes with this element of heaviness. It all comes with this element of disappointment. So the Strength card, being able to kind of face some of these fears head on. looking honestly, looking honestly at the reality. I feel like it's a little bit hard right now to diffuse some of the emotion. With this Pisces full moon, it's definitely heightening emotionality. And in this way that we might be a little bit more greedy or self-centered or like, well, they should be doing this for me, etc. And maybe, right? Like, but I think the name of the game is to kind of remove some of that element and say like, okay, well, that's just what they're doing. So if that's what they're doing, then I have to make my decisions accordingly. It's a little bit more clear cut with this Two of Swords. With this Strength card, it just looks like someone's having a really hard time stepping up to the plate. And it looks like there's also some of their own things that they have to contend with. We're getting the Fox energy and the blocked energy. So there might be someone who's trying to manipulate how things are moving forward with this Six of Swords. The Fox energy can definitely just be sly. You know, it's an energy where something is trying to push their agenda. And it does have this selfish element. It has a selfish element in a way that, like, if certain people are not cautious about the steps that they can take, it can actually change things 100%. And it kind of looks like someone's en route to being found out. Maybe you can sense this. Maybe you're picking this up. It looks like to some capacity, they're trying to present a different front, like as if they have it all together, or they're very territorial right now, especially when it comes to you. They're only letting things go skin deep, if at all. You might even be having some resistance from this person, from this dynamic, even though it looks like you're trying to work together. But there is a little bit of not a hall pass. There's a block. There's an obstacle that's coming into play. And this is because there is still resistance. There's resistance in how everyone wants to show up, because some people are getting their needs met and some people are not, right? Some people want to see harmony and balance restored. Some people need it to be their way. And that's what I feel like you're struggling with right now, because someone's using lies and manipulation as a way to self-protect. And as soon as this gets revealed, which it looks like it hasn't quite yet, but it does feel like it's working its way out, is what I'm seeing. Especially with this Three of Wands. Maybe this is something that you're waiting on. Like, maybe this is part of the reason why it's hard to make a decision right now, because you're expecting some things to come out of this and it hasn't yet. And honestly, like I said, because it does look like someone is holding their ground, someone's not budging. I feel like they're trying to wait things out. It looks like they're trying to see if there are other options, other solutions before calling it quits, is what I'm hearing. This is someone who like has very specific ideas of how they want things to look moving forward, of what their success looks like, especially in relation to you. Yeah. They're not ready to let go. They're not ready to leave you or this dynamic behind. But they're not really in a place that they're feeling good either. And that's the conundrum. But it also looks like this might be a continual cycle, or it might be a little bit repetitive. For you, at least. And for them as well, because this is where they end up. King of Cups energy here for you. King of Cups, 9 of Coins. It's, here's the thing. You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. That's what I'm seeing. And this kind of goes back to what I was saying in the very beginning. It's hard because you don't have, it feels like more limitation than what is worth or like what you want to be. You kind of want to look at this dynamic hoping that it will pan out in a certain way, but it's not. And I feel like to some capacity, it is heading in this certain direction that is going to make or break, or it is going to completely switch the dynamic. It's going to bring in more stress. It's going to bring in more burden. It's going to make it harder for everyone involved. And again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. That's why it's really important to have a clear idea, clear understanding of where you're at, how you feel, what works for you and what does not, right? Because the more clear you can be around that right now, the easier it's going to make this to navigate, because it's going to be messy regardless is basically what it's saying. It's going to be messy regardless because like it's not just one person's fault, but someone just like had a really hard time being honest. And so it's that snowball or domino effect where it just gets bigger, bigger, bigger. And then it's kind of hard to backtrack from there. And I feel like you're just kind of in this waiting game, but also right now is time to make a decision. And I feel like that's definitely like what Spirit's highlighting. More to be revealed. There is, I know, conflict. I knew this. Opposition, confrontation. Well, the sun, moon are in opposition. The moon's in opposition to Mercury. The sun's in opposition to the north node. So there is this resistance towards healing, and a lot of it is coming from our ego. But that's really where we have to let go, So much of this is about, it is a battle of the ego. I was going to say like a battle of the wits. And it's really however much power we're giving someone or their words, right? Like maybe they do think a thing about us. Maybe it is really hurtful, but maybe in our world it's not true. And I feel like the challenge of this is not everyone's going to like us. Not everyone's going to say nice things, and not everyone is going to like want to get on your bandwagon, unfortunately. And it's highlighting those areas, but specifically because it's reminding you what is actually nourishing for your heart. And not in this way that like you cut off long-term dynamics or whatever, or commitments that you have. Obviously, there's a way to do that. But there's also a lot of impasse that keeps coming up in this reading. And so much of the lunar eclipse tonight is talking about how when we keep hitting brick wall after brick wall, when we take that step back, when we assess our emotions, when we assess how people dynamics are working with us and get a clearer picture of like why it's triggering this emotion, why it's feeling that way, then we can make more educated choices moving forward. And that's exactly where you're at. Two of Swords isn't necessarily like a lovey-dovey energy. It's a pros and cons list, essentially. It's saying like, maybe that's even a practice you want to do tonight, is just kind of like reflect on where the pros and cons in your life are. Where are these things that are coming that actually are just like bringing a lot more hurt, a lot more pain? There's burden, there's struggle, either way it goes. And I feel like you kind of know that. But sometimes, and we've been seeing this a lot in the zodiac readings, sometimes we just have to make peace with the fact that it's going to be hard no matter what. But it also goes back to this message of the Strength card, wherever that went. Strength is the reminder that you have the ability to overcome. We're dealing with a lot of people dynamics that are trying to tell us otherwise. But in reality, 100%, it becomes the fuel to our fire, Mars. Mars has been really weirdly aspected, and Mars is our action. It's the motion. It's the way we push things forward in our life. And because it's been very weirdly aspected, tensely aspected, things have been moving a lot slower. It's about harnessing our power is what I'm hearing. Harnessing that willpower. Gathering information, gathering the wisdom that you need, really observing situations, observing people, observing like even that fine print, so that you have better understanding on when the floodgates open, when we see more momentum in the collective on choices that you're making. And we are moving in, end of the month, we'll be moving into Libra season, which is all about partnerships. And we'll really be highlighting the partnerships, the relationships that we are making out of some of these transitions. Okay, Midhaven, pinnacle, the pinnacle of some of these issues, problems, fourth house, specifically as it relates to our nurture and support. Yes, the fourth house is home and family, but it can be as, simple as like the way certain things have impacted us throughout our lives, whether that was in our upbringing, our childhood. Maybe we're even dealing with that sense of stability, what feels like it's actually valuable to keep around. Again, opposition and Mars energy is being highlighted. We don't necessarily have a lot of fire in this full moon. We've been experiencing a lot of fire lately, hence some of the tension and frustration that's like popping up when things aren't moving or people are not understanding, or we're just coming into like confrontation after confrontation. But this Midhaven fourth house is again that promise that like you are moving in the right direction. I know, I'm sorry, it's a little cliche, but it's true. Like I feel like a lot of this is about having the strength, finding the strength to make your next choices. Like I said, Venus is tensely aspected to Black Moon Lilith. So we really want to keep our eyes, ears open, especially for karmic relationships, dynamics that are meant more for lessons to kind of challenge us versus things that we're meant to keep around. That might be a little bit tricky. It might be a little bit dicey right now, especially with this Fox energy in your blocked energy, because it's like easy to trust people, especially as it relates to like campaign promises, when they're like promising something that might be a little bit too good to be true. I think it's a lot about just maintaining your balance, right? Make sure that you're still taking time for yourself, that like you're the loudest voice in your own life right now. Try not to give that power away to someone or something else. Because you're gonna need it, right? And what I'm seeing for the week upcoming is we have some rebalancing. We have peace and calm until next Sunday. Then it's gonna pop off a little bit. But until then, it's a really good time period to again, like just kind of do that in internal reflection. Get clear on what you want your next choices, your next moves to be. Understand that maybe like no option is a great option, but I'm hearing it more as like, what's the next step? What's the next step that's going to get you to the next place that you have to be? So I hope you enjoyed this reading. Happy full moon. Full moon lunar eclipse. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found messages that resonated for you here. Thank you so much for your time, energy. Always, I super appreciate you. All the love, all the support you bring to the channel. Definitely drop comments below. I love to hear how things resonate, or just connect, share in a little love, little TLC, say hey. Thank you so much for your time, energy, always. I appreciate all the love, all the blessings you bring my way, and I'm sending them back to you. Have a great night.